Sige po, magpuna tayo. Let's get our Bibles. Guys, let's all stand up. Let's open with a word of prayer. Father, we thank you for this day. Father, we pray that you would speak to our hearts, that you would remove anything and everything that would hinder you, Lord. Lord, today we give you our aspirations, we give you our plans, we give you our frustrations, we give you everything, Lord. We give it all to you, Lord, and we pray, God, that you would minister to us this morning because you love us. Thank you, Lord, that you've read that prayer. And as always, Lord, we pray all these things in Jesus' name. And we say, Amen. Okay, so, bakit na tayo matapos sa Book of Acts? Ano na lang? One more chapter. Chapter 28. Tapos tapos na tayo and we go on to the letter of Paul to the church in Rome. So, chapter 27 of the book of Acts. Now, let me start by saying this. Let me give you an introduction. It's always good to have an introduction. If you remember back in chapter 19, Paul expressed a deep desire to go to Rome. Sabi ni Paul, I must also go to Rome. He wanted to go to Rome and preach the gospel there. Those were the words of Paul habang nandun pa siya sa Ephesus. Hindi nga lang niya alam kung ano yung mga mangyayari sa buhay niya bago siya makarating ng Rome. Kasi sobrang dami nangyari at pinigil ni Satanas para hindi siya makarating sa Rome. Kung naaalala ninyo, he was illegally arrested for no reason at all. He was brought to court, he was imprisoned, he was almost killed, he was beaten, and he was shipwrecked. Pero through it all, Paul trusted the Lord. He did not waver in his trust. And the Lord saw him through. The Lord made sure that he was safe and brought him all the way to Rome. So today, yun ang ating titignan po dito sa chapter 27 of the book of Acts. Yung accurate and vivid record of Paul's sea travels to Rome. Also, itong chapter na to, makikita natin what it was like to travel by sea in those days. Ibang-iba ang travel by sea dati sa compare sa mga travel by sea today. Dati masyadong primitive. Tayo ngayon, kahit sabihin mo pa ang Pilipinas, medyo primitive din ang kanyang sea travel. Still, meron tayong mga gauges, meron tayong mga barometers, meron tayong mga devices, meron tayong compass, meron tayong know-how. Dati, totally wala silang know-how. They were totally in the mercy talaga ng dagat. Okay? So, sige. Let's read verse 1. Notice it says in verse 1, when it was decided that we would sail for Italy, Paul and some other prisoners were handed over to a centurion named Julius, who belonged to the imperial regiment. Underline that word, prisoner. So Paul now is on his way to Rome. At sabi dito, may kasama daw siya mga bilanggo. Now, sino yung mga bilanggo kasama niya? Hindi natin alam sino yung mga bilanggo na kasama niya. Hindi po dito sinabi kung sino yung mga bilanggo na kasama niya. Pero if you use biblical common sense, in those days, businessmen made a lot of money buying and selling slaves. Ang gagawin nila, they would buy slaves, bring them as prisoners to Rome, and then sell them sa Rome for entertainment for the emperor. And they made a lot of money doing that. So one would say the prisoners here are slaves. Okay, that would be safe to say. Dadalhin nila itong mga bilanggo na to, mga aliti na ito, at yung mga nagdala nila sa Rome na mga mahihina na, pinakakain na lang nila yung sa leon. Dadalhin nila sa gitna ng Coliseo, yung mga leon na ilang araw na, ilang linggo na hindi pinapakain, papakawalan nila, at panonoodin ng mga tao habang nilalakad nila yung mga prisoner doon, habang nag-cheer sila. Yung ginagawa sa mga mahihina na bilanggo. Pero hindi naman mga bilanggo na mga matikuno sila, malalakas sila. You got it right, ginagawa naman silang gladiators. Pinaglalaban-laban sila. Or kung isa, magbibitaw sila ng isang prisoner na gladiator, paliligiran na 10 mga matipunong mga Romans, wala kang kalaban-laban, tapos magbabanatan sila doon to the death. And the people would cheer in ecstasy. That was a spectacle for the Roman emperor. Pinapanood nila. So you see here, my friend, that these prisoners that were with Paul were hopeless men. Hindi tulad ngayon ng mga bilanggo ngayon na meron pang mga taon o meron pang mga pag-asa na mailabas ka. Dati pag ikaw naging bilanggo at dinala ka na sa Rome, you are considered dead ka na. Wala ka ng pag-asa. Kaya kung titignan ninyo ito, it would be safe to say that these people were hopeless men. So that leads me to say, napakaganda opportunity ito to preach to them the message of hope to these hopeless people. And not to mention, mga bilanggo sila. Alam mo na bilanggo, captive audience yan. Hindi naman yan pwedeng umalis pag hindi na niya gusto sinasabi mo eh. They are captive audience. Okay? So, and also, I would say, na talagang Paul preached to them, I would say, because in Philippians chapter 1, verse 13, Paul said, what has happened to me has advanced the gospel. Yung sabi ni Pablo, yung pasakit na ginawa sa akin, yung pagbibilanggo na ginawa sa akin, yung pagpapalipat-lipat ko ng mga bilangguan, nakabuti. Kasi dahil doon, naipalaganap ko ang Ebanghelyo ng Panginoon. So, from that word of Paul, alam natin that Paul preached to these prisoners. Okay? So sige, tuloy natin, verse 2 and 3. So more or less, we say that these people are prisoners. Verse 2 and 3. Ito na. We boarded a ship from Andromitium, about to sail for ports along the coast of the province of Asia, and we put out to sea. Aristarchus, a Macedonian from Thessalonica, was with us. Next day we landed at Sidon, and Julius, which was actually the centurion assigned to Paul, in kindness to Paul, allowed Paul to go to his friends so they might provide for his needs. Sabi dito, when the ship reached Sidon, nag-stop over daw sila, at yun daw si Julius, which was a centurion, allowed Paul to go down and visit his friends. Napakaganda na ito. Then there is a lesson here, my friend. Okay, there is a lesson here. Two things you need to consider here. One is that even the great Apostle Paul needed to see his Christian friends. That is a biblical truth, my friend. If you are a Christian, you need to see your Christian friends on a regular basis. You need to see them. Hindi pa pwede, kapatid, na totally sasabihin mo na ayaw ko makakita sa inyo, aalis na ako. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Because really, my friend, kahit yung gana mo napakaliit, yung ilaw mo napakaliit, ako napakaliit, kay Pastor John napakaliit, kay ate, pag pinagsama-sama natin yan, malaking ilaw yan. Kaya kahit ikaw, konti na lang yung gana mo. Si A, konti na lang ang gana. Marami sa atin, konti na lang ang gana, halos kakarag-karag na. Pag nagsama-sama tayo, yung gana na yun, lumalaki. Parang konting apoy. Pag nagsama ko, malaking sinang din na. And makita natin itong biblical truth na ito. Huwag niyong sasaalang-alang ang pag-meet together ninyo sa church. Huwag niyo pong gagawin yun. Kasi even in the book of Hebrews, it says, do not forsake the meeting together. Okay, don't forsake that. You always make time. In fact, alam mo, for those people na umaabot sila sa punto na ayaw na nila mag-church, sila yung talaga kailangan na mag-church. We see here that even the Apostle Paul needed to fellowship. Nagpaalam daw siya dito kay Julius, which was the centurion, the head soldier, at pinayagan daw siya, sige, bumaba ka. Sige, kamustahin mo yung mga kapatiran mo, Kristiyano. Okay, another thing that is worth noting here is that eto si Julius ay isang Roman centurion. Isa siyang non-believer. Isa siyang pagano. Hindi siya naniniwala sa Diyos ni Pablo. So, if for any reason may mawala siyang bilanggo kahit isa lang, siya mismo ang i-execute sa Rome. So, pansinin mo lang na, bakit mo pinayagan si Paul bumaba? You remember that story when Paul and the other apostles were incarcerated, nung bigla na lang nag-earthquake, bumukas yung mga pintuan. Anong ginawa ng jail guard? Kinuha niya yung sibat niya, magpapakamatay ko siya. Kasi alam niya, magpapakamatay na ako. Dahil definitely may nakatakas akong bilanggo. Unahan ko na. Because really, that's the law of Rome. So one would think, why would this centurion let Paul go? Walang bantay. Why would you do that? Not to mention na pag yan nakawala, papatayin ka, at buong pamilya mo, castaway na. dahil sa mistake mo. And I was thinking, why would you do this? I thought, well, maybe because Paul was good to him. That could be, di ba? Paul was good to him. He saw probably that Paul, could be trusted. And many reasons until I came to Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7. And this is what it says. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7. Ito ang sabi, when a man's ways are pleasing to the Lord makes even his enemies at peace with him. Did you hear what I said? Sa Tagalog, ang sabi, pag ang Diyos nalugod sa klase ng buhay mo, kahit yung mga kaaway mo, gagamitin niya para tulungan ka. Nakakamangha ito. Kasi sa totoo lang, lahat po tayo, we go out of our way so that people will accept us. At work, in your neighborhood, you try to be a good neighbor. In school, if you're an athlete with your, yung mga kasama mo sa sports, you always try to do things so that they will accept you. Tama ba? Di ba? You want them to like you, to accept you. And so, many times, don't get me wrong, many times, you are tempted to compromise. And you start to talk like them, you start to act like them, and you say, no, hindi naman mali yun. Wala nang tagal ginawa yun. I'm just trying to defend it. Come on, let's be honest. Sometimes without knowing it, we go beyond what is allowed by the Lord just so they will accept us. But there's another way. You don't have to sin so that people will accept you. In Proverbs it says, live a life pleasing to the Lord and He will make even your enemies at peace with you. How good is that? And we have here a proof. We have here a proof. Paul could actually be considered as a high-profile prisoner. High-profile ito. At hindi ito, Brad, na sa bilanggo na nakatakas. Na pwede mong ibintang kay Kulampo, pwede mong ibintang kay Kulapa. Ito, kasama mo, nasa barko, ihahatid mo siya mula Efeso hanggang Roma. Paano nakawala ito? Before the eyes of the people, they will say, pinayagan po ni Julius, bumaba po mag-isip, binisita yung mga katropa niya, mga Kristyano. Why would he do this? I venture to say because God made him do it. God made him do it. That's a very good, because all of us want to, do it. Sometimes you say, magpapasok sa trabaho na I really wanted to make a difference. But they are just too much for me. And Lord, forgive me. I'm starting to act like them just so they would approve of me. There is a better way for people to approve of you. You have a life pleasing to the Lord. And even your enemies will approve of you. You don't have to compromise. Sige, verse 4, let's continue. Notice what it says. From there, from Sidon, meaning, we put out to sea again and pass to the lee of Cyprus because the winds were against us. Okay. Verse 5, excuse me. When we had sailed across the open sea on the coast of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we landed at Myra in Lycia. There the centurion found an Alexandrian ship sailing for Italy and put us on board. Verse 7, we made slow headway for many days and had difficulty arriving in Cnidus. When the wind did not allow us to hold our course, we sailed to the lee of Crete, opposite Salmone. Verse 8, we moved along the coast with difficulty and came to a place called Fair Havens, near the town of Lasea. So notice the words being used here to describe the voyage of Paul. Tignan mo ulit, basahin natin ulit ang mga words that are used to describe yung voyage nila. Basahin natin ulit, verse 4. From there we put out to sea again and passed to the lee of Cyprus because the winds were against us. Notice here, describing the kind of voyage that they had. When we had sailed across the open sea of the coast of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we landed at Myra in Lycia. There, the centurion found an Alexandrian ship sailing for Italy to put us on board. We made slow headway for many days. Many days. Hindi sila dumahanda. And they had difficulty arriving in Cnidus when the wind did not allow us to hold our course. So this was strong winds. Okay? Strong winds. We sailed to the lee of Crete, opposite Salmone. We moved along the coast with difficulty and came to a place called Fair Havens near the town of Lasea. Friends, in those days, sea travel was very, very difficult. No, actually not just difficult, it was very dangerous. Totally wala silang ways to get from one point to another. They had no gadgets, they had no compasses, they had no barometers, they had nothing, my friend. In fact, totally sila nagre-rely sa mga bituin. They would rely on the formation of the stars and they would say, that's the best compass because the stars never move. Kung walang bagyo. Eh kung may bagyo, paano mo makikita yung stars? Wala ka makikita bituin. So, pag may bagyo, totally talaga, you will be swung from one place to another so fast. It will be impossible to go back to your direction. Sige, tuloy natin, verse 9. Much time had been lost because of this kind of weather. Meron silang ino-hold na timetable to get from one place to another. The day were supposed to arrive in Rome at a certain time. And obviously, hindi na nila makikip yung kanilang schedule. Ang sabi, much time had been lost and sailing had already become dangerous. Because by now, it was after the fast. So Paul warned them after the fast. Now this means after the Jewish Day of Atonement, which was October. Okay? So now it's starting to make sense. It's starting to make sense. If it was ang sabi after the fast, so that means this was on an October. Kasi Jewish Day of Atonement, yung October. So more or less meron tayong idea dito sa verse 9, kung anong buwan ito nag-sail sila, October. Now, you can check it out, my friend. Today, with the kind of ships we have, 12 months in a year, you could sail. Walang problema yun. Pero dati, nobody sailed on an October. See? October, they would consider as a dangerous time to sail. November was stupid to sail. Nobody sailed on an October, much less a November. And this was the time that they were sailing. And because of that, ang sabi dito, behind schedule na sila. Pansinin mo sa verse 9. Sabi sa verse 9, much time had been lost. So kahit dangerous na, nagpatuloy sila. Ang sabi, basahin natin sa verse 9 all the way to verse 10. Much time had been lost. Sailing had already become dangerous. Because by now, it was after the fast. So yun daw ang dahilan why the sailing was becoming dangerous because of that time of year. And we are given here an idea what that time of year was. It was after the fast, so it was on October. It could be nearing November. So Paul warned them. Are you still reading it with me? So Paul warned them. In verse 10, men, ito ang sabi daw, I can see that our voyage is going to be disastrous and bring great loss to ship and cargo and to our own lives also. Okay, listen to this. Notice here Paul, listen, is not using positive confession. Okay? He is not here using what the Pentecostals love to use, name it and claim it. Just name it and claim it, Pakistan yan. He's not using here positive confession. He's not using here Pentecostal doctrine. He's using his head. Because notice what he says, it's not good for us to say, mapapasama tayo. Paul said, huwag na tayong tumuloy, mapapahamak tayo. Kaso hindi sila nakinig kay Pablo. Nakinig sila sa centurion. Let's continue, verse 11. But the centurion, instead of listening to what Paul said, followed the advice of the pilot and of the owner of the ship. Since the harbor was unsuitable to winter in, the majority decided that we should sail on. Majority. Okay? Hoping to reach Phoenix and winter there. This was a harbor in Crete facing both southwest and northwest. So Paul, ang sabi dito, warned them, huwag tayo tumuloy. Mapapahamak tayo. Mapapahamak pati cargo, pati vapor natin. Lahat tayo mapapahamak. But notice here, instead of listening to Paul's advice, the centurion followed the advice of the experts. And don't we always do that? We don't follow the advice of God. We don't follow the advice of the pastor, of the Christian. We always used to love, we follow the advice of the expert. Why do I say expert? Kasi ang nagtatalo nito, yung advice ni Paul o yung advice ng captain at owner ng ship. I mean, common sense dictates. Sino ka ba? Hindi lang kapitan ito. Itong isa siya may may-ari na itong barko na ito You see. And because of this, sabi sa verse 14, read verse 14, the ship that was caught in a hurricane. Woo! And verse 41, here is the crux of it all. Verse 41, the ship struck a sandbar, and what happened? What happened? Shipwreck? No, it was broken into pieces. Nagkalasag-lasag yung barko nila. So, notice here, my friend, the Lord used Paul to warn these people, but they did not listen, and so ito nangyari. What does this tell you? What is this telling us? This is a clear lesson that God warns you, if you don't listen, you'll get hurt. Very simple. God warns you, you don't listen, you get hurt. You see here, my friend, that the centurion did not listen to Paul. Read your Bible. Instead, he followed the advice of the captain of the ship and the owner of the ship. Now, in a way, I have to give this to the centurion. I have to go down and say, I understand you. Kasi in a way, my friend, tama yung ginawa niya from the eyes of the world. I mean, the centurion followed the experts. The captain of the ship was an expert. The owner of the ship definitely knows a lot about sailing. He followed the experts. Sino nga naman makikinig kay Pablo? I mean, he's just a passenger. Not only that, to make things worse, hindi ka lang passenger, bilanggo ka nga eh. So, who are you to call the shots? Plus, we remember that the centurion is not a Christian. He's an unbeliever. Why will he listen to Paul? So I can understand. Pero tayo, Kristiyano tayo eh. Huwag tayo makikinig sa mga payo ng hindi Kristiyano. Wala kang lusot eh. Kung ikaw may problema, huwag ka nalapit kay kumari. Pag ikaw may ginawang problema o may problemang ginawa sa iyo, huwag kayo ng payo kung kanina pula po. Lumapit ka sa kapwa-Kristyano. Kahit masabihin mo yung tao niya na eksperto, kahit si Dr. Phil pa yan, ilan si Dr. Phil? Ilan si Dr. Phil? Hindi Kristyano yan. Ang ipapayo niya sa iyo, ikakapesti mo. In fact, alam mo, sabihin ko sa iyo na, mas mabuti pang lumapit ka sa isang Kristyanong ordinaryo lang kaysa lalapit ka sa non-believer kahit eksperto pa yan. Dahil totally hindi niya alam ang tama at mali. Dahil Kristiyano ka. Wala kang lusot. Kadalasan nga tayo, nauuna pang malaman ang problema natin nung Bombay sa kanto, bago ng Diyos. Ini-exhaust natin lahat ang pwede lapitan, lahat ang pwede lapitan. Pag wala ka na malapitan, ubus na yung mga pamamaraan, lalapit ka sa Diyos. Sabi mo, Panginoon, wala na po akong mapuntaan. Sabi ng Panginoon, alam ko. Panginoon, sinubuhan ko na po lahat. Wala akong umubra. Sabi ng Panginoon, alam ko. Kaya ito na ako, Panginoon. Alam ko. Don't use God as a last resort. God must be the first to hear. Because the truth is, my friend, even before your problem arises, God has the answer. God has the answer. Ako natuto hindi natutuwa, natawa nga ako minsan doon sa church namin dati, Harvest pa rin, under yung American pastor. Nalala mo yung pastor dyan, yung nasa ano pa kami doon, nasa Midmar. Sa baba namin, meron doon church, pastor, si Zoyo, Pastor Ben America. And I was already teaching Bible studies then. And then when Dane, before he left, February of 1993, I became his assistant pastor. And then May 1993, I was ordained as the senior pastor. I would travel from our place, nasaan pa ako noon, sa Mandaluyong pa ako, sa labas, hindi sa loob, nakatira, and I would travel papunta, and I would always love to turn on the radio. I would listen yung preaching on Haven of Rest. I think, yeah, Haven of Rest. And I would listen to him teach. He was a good teacher, by the way. I love the way he presented the Bible. Very clear, very straight, and very easy to absorb. But once may tinuro siya that really bothered me. He said, you know, when you pray, you should be specific. Ano siya? Amen. Amen. But this is what I did not amen. He said, kasi how will God know if you are not specific? How will God know? So the God that created heaven and earth, it says in the Bible, before a word is on my tongue, He knows it completely already. So your God doesn't know. And then he went on a step further and he said, I've been praying for a bicycle for 1 year. And the bicycle had not come. Finally I asked the Lord, Lord, I've been praying for a year. How come you have not given me the bicycle? And according to him, the Lord answered and said, because you did not tell me what kind of bicycle you want. You did not tell me if you wanted an easy rider, you wanted a racer, you wanted a mountain bike. You did not tell me how many speed. And immediately I said, you are talking about two different gods. You are talking about a God who needs you to know things. My God knows everything before a word is on my tongue. Before the problem arises, my God already knows them. The Bible even says that before the creation of the world, God knew you. Who? That blows me away. So you see, before the creation, how far is that? Definitely it's far. I mean, before the creation of the world. Before Adam and Eve. Before everything else. God knew me. Who? That blows me away. So with that said, my friend, huwag ka malapit sa hindi Kristyano. Anong nalalaman niya? Look at what happened here. They chose them. You know, because they were not believers. I can understand. Siyempre naman, diba? Parang, kung tinanong mo kunyari, sa mekaniko kung paano ayusin ang kotse, tapos meron yung lalaki sinabi ganito, o sinabi ng mekaniko, mali, hindi pakikinggan mo eh. So common sense dictates. But always, my friend, always listen to a Christian, not a believer. Because notice what happened here. Verse 14, because they listened to the experts rather than Paul, ano nangyari sa verse 14? The ship was caught in a hurricane. Verse 41, the ship struck a sandbar, and what happened? Was broken into pieces. Ooh! Nagkalasag-lasag. Nagkalasag. Okay. Walang natira. Now, another lesson is in verse 12. Read verse 12. Since the harbor wasn't suitable to winter in, the majority, ayan ang word, the majority decided that we should sail on, hoping to reach Phoenix and winter there. This was a harbor in Crete, facing both southwest and northwest. Notice it says here, the majority decided to continue sailing. In other words, nagkaroon sila ng census and the votation, the majority daw said, okay, let's continue. Pakinggan natin yung mga experts. And they sailed on. Okay, and verse 40 tells us, because the majority was obeyed, they were caught in a hurricane. Again, verse 41, the ship was broken into pieces. What is the lesson again here? Hindi po, mas madami ang nagsasabing kakaliwa ka, yung kaliwa tama. Hindi totoo yan. Yung sinasabi ng ating batas, nakasulat yan sa Constitution natin, Vox Populi, Vox Dei. Hindi totoo yan. Hindi totoo yan. Hindi porke mas marami nagsasabi na ito tama na yan. Kasi hindi masa ang nagdidesisyon ng tama at mali. Salita ng Diyos ang nagsasabi ng tama at mali. Sino mas marami nagsasabi, crucify him, crucify him? Yung masa. Kaunti lang nagsasabi ko. My friend, hindi masa ang nagdidesisyon. Ang salita ng Diyos ang nagdidesisyon. Okay? So, tinan mo nangyari dito, verse 14, they were caught in a hurricane. Verse 41, the ship was broken into pieces. So, never say, well, everybody's doing it, so it must be okay. Maraming nagsasabi ko, sige na, U-turn ka na. Hindi naman lahat sila ng U-turn. Wala ka nakasulat no U-turn eh. Wala ka nakasulat no U-turn. Huwag mo dating gawin yan. Kung minsan tatawid ako, tawid na lang sila ng tawid na. Minsan nasa ako, sabi ko, Brad, sabi ko, alam mo, hindi mo na kailangan marunong magbasa eh. Hindi ko nakita doon pula nakadiretso, green nakaganon. Ano ba? Pula ba o green? Pula ba o green? Kasi di ba po sabi ko, kaya nga nilagay niya dyan para sa mga tao no read, no write eh. Hindi naman nakasulat dyan, okay, when it's time to move, you can cross the street and just, what does it say? Klaro, pula nakadiretso, green nakaganon. Ano ba? Pula ba o green? Hindi lahat kasi tumatawid na, yun ang problema. Yun ang problema. Because everybody is doing it, does not make it right, my friend. Okay? In fact, it says very clear, wide is the road that leads to destruction. And many go by that road, while narrow is the way that leads to life, and few find it. Narrow and wide. Okay? Minsan nga may nagsabi sa akin, alam ikaw, pastor, ito ang problema mo, hindi na utak mo. Hindi na utak mo eh. Hati ka na lang, ito lang, hindi na utak mo. Ito, sabi ko sa kanila, hindi po makikita ang utak ko. Ang makikita po ng utak ng Diyos. Na sinabi ng Panginoon, mali, kahit balikan niyo yung bukas, balikan mo next year, yung sinabi ng mali pa rin. Pag sinabi siya bawal, hindi mo siya mapapakiusapan. Pag sinabi niya bawal. In fact, ang Diyos makikita ang utak. Kaya sabi niya, makitid ang daan patungo sa akin. Malawak ang daan papunta ko. Pero huwag mo ko tawagin makikita ang utak. Kasi ang problema ko, masyado pa rin malawak ang utak ko eh. Ang problema ko nga, pilit ko pa rin siya pinapakitid eh. Kaya dapat talaga makitid ang utak. Kasi, sa totoo lang, kahit sinabi ko na wag, pag yung anak ko, sige naman ako, sige naman. Anak, hindi nga. Sige naman. O sige na. Hanggang lang yan, sige, kumain ka ng ice cream o whatever. Hindi ako, problema ko, kung sabihin makitid ang utak, hindi, broad nga ako eh, broad ang mind ko eh. Dapat pa natin titiran. You understand? So, never say that because everybody else does it, it's correct. No. That is not true. Because hindi masa ang nagdidesisyon ng tama at mali, ang nagdidesisyon ay ang salita ng Diyos. So, ang sabi dito, the majority said, sige na, let's sail on. This leads me to think na medyo meron mga ibang tao, parang hindi ako tayo tumulong, kasi ang sabi dito, Brad, sobra na. Dangerous na yung lugar. So, this leads me to think. So, sige tayo sa kamay, sino gusto tumuloy? Sino ayaw tumuloy? And the majority, it says, nagsabi tumuloy. In other words, nagkaroon sila ng census, and the majority said, let's move on. What happened? 14, they were caught in a hurricane. Verse 41, the ship was broken into pieces. Sige, tuloy natin, verse 13. Remember that, hindi masa nagsasabi ng tama at mali. Verse 13. When a gentle south wind began to blow, they thought they had obtained what they wanted. So they weighed anchor and sailed along the shore of Crete. Verse 14, before very long, a wind of hurricane force called the northeaster swept down from the island. Oh, wow. This is very, verse 15, the ship was caught by the storm and could not head into the wind. So we gave way to it and were driven along. As we passed to the lee of a small island called Cauda, we were hardly able to make the lifeboat secure. When the men had hoisted it aboard, they passed ropes under the ship itself to hold it together. Fearing that they would run aground in the sandbars of Syrtis, they lowered the sea anchor and let the ship be driven along. We took such a violent battering from the storm that the next day they began to throw the cargo overboard. On the third day, they threw the ship tackle overboard with their own hands. When neither sun nor stars appeared for many days, and the storm continued raging, we finally gave up all hope of being saved. Verse 21, after the men had gone a long time without food, Paul stood up before them and said, "Men, you should have taken my advice not to sail from Crete. Then you would have spared yourselves this damage and loss. But now I urge you to keep up your courage, because not one of you will be lost, only the ship will be destroyed. Last night an angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve, stood beside me," beautiful, "and said, 'Do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand trial before Caesar, and God has graciously given you the lives of all who sail with you.'" Verse 25, "So keep up your courage, men," Paul talking to the men, "for I have faith in God that it will happen just as He told me." But notice here, there is a requirement, verse 26, "Nevertheless, we must run aground on some island." Is God good or what? Is God good or what? I told you not to do it, you did it, balak sa buhay ko. If that was me, I would say, tigas talaga ang utak ninyo. Common sense na lang yan. Nakakita ninyo lakas eh. Ginamit mo lang konting utak mo, alam mo nang mali magpatuloy. At sinabi ko pa sa inyo, huwag magpatuloy. Dahil patuloy yung balak sa... You know, we fathers, we sometimes tell that to our kids, don't we? Tigas ang ulo mo eh. Babalak sa buhay mo, buti sa iyan. But is that what God does here? Is that what God did here? No, that's not what the Lord did here. Notice through the Apostle Paul, God told them not to continue. They continued, but and so this happened to them. But notice, God spoke to Paul and said, "Ililigtas ko kayo." Grabe. Grabe. Ililigtas ko kayo. In spite of everything they did, sabi, ililigtas ko kayo. You know, right away, I see here a very beautiful teaching that when everyone has given up on you, God will not give up on you. When everyone has said, "I'm fed up with you," balak ka sa buhay mo, God will not give up on you. God will not give up on you. I remember before I became a Christian, I was as bad as they come. I'm still bad now. But God is good. Everyone gave up on me. I took all the drugs I could take. I stole everything I could steal. And I would always say, "Hindi nyo kaya ikulong pare ko, hindi nyo kaya tatay ko. Ilalabas ako ng tatay ko." Until finally, everyone gave up on me. They said, "Tapo mo, wala lang ako pag-asa." My sisters told me, "Alis ng tatay ko, pag-uwi namin, wala kang narito, Juno. Total, ninakaw mo lahat. Sinalis ka na lang." But the Lord did not give up on me. And don't you have a story like that? When everybody has given up on you, God has not given up on you. How beautiful is this? How beautiful is this? You know, 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 13 says this, "Even when we are faithless, God is faithful." Even if you are suffering because of your own doing, God will not give up on you. He will not give up on you. Because God is faithful. Even when you are faithless, God is faithful. And mga tao sinasabi nila, sila, just believe, just believe, just believe. I remember a story in the Bible. The man came to Jesus and he says, "I know, Lord, that if I believe you will do it, Lord, I believe that help me unbelief." He told the Lord, "Lord, I'm having a hard time believing na bubuhayin mo pa. I'm having a hard time. Lord, I know that I should trust you, Lord, but Lord, please help me. Because I find it very difficult to trust you." The Lord still did. Yes, sir. And yet many today they say, "Just believe." Hey, my God says, even when you are faithless, God is faithful. You know, umalis ka, bumili ka ng pagkain, di ba yung anak mo? Yung apat naniniwala mabalik ka, yung isa hindi naniniwala. Pagbalik mo, yung bang isang hindi naniniwala, hindi mo pakakainin. Pakakainin mo. How much more the Lord? Verse 27, notice what it says. On the 14th night, we were still being driven across the Adriatic Sea. Grabe, walang katapusan. When about midnight, the sailors sensed they were approaching land. They took soundings and found that the water was 120 feet deep. I'm not, a mathematician, but 120 feet. To me, that is very deep. Kasi yung swimming pool lang na 10 feet, malalim mo sa akin eh. Nagpupunta kami dati sa Bahuna sa Dumaguete. Sabi nila, ingatan po ninyo yan kasi naka-diverse yan 30 feet. Tinitignan ko, madilim na. Madilim na yung tubig. 30 feet. I don't know, have you seen a swimming pool 30 feet deep? There was a swimming pool. In Bahura, 30 feet, 15 feet deep. Or 30 feet, was that? Ilang feet deep yun sa akin? 15 lang. 15. Yung swimming pool na 10 feet or 6 feet, tinitignan mo na dito yung floor. Ito tinitignan ko ang dilim. Nakatakot. But this was 120 feet deep. This is deep, my friend. They took soundings and found that the water was 120 feet deep. A short time later, they took soundings again and found that it was 90 feet deep. Fearing that we would be dashed against the rocks, they dropped 4 anchors from the stern and prayed for daylight. Verse 13, in an attempt to escape from the ship, the sailors let the lifeboat down into the sea, pretending they were going to lower some anchors from the bow. Then Paul said to the centurion and the soldiers, unless these men stay with the ship, you cannot be saved. Sabi ni Paul sa centurion, the only assurance of safety is for everyone to remain with the ship. Okay? You see, the Lord told Paul that He would save them, but He would save them His way, not their way. Now, this is like the gospel message. God will save you, but He will save you His way, not your way. You want to be saved, you do it His way, not your way. See? Let's continue. Verse 32. We have a few minutes. So the soldiers cut the ropes that held the lifeboat and let it fall away. Just before dawn, Paul urged them all to eat. For the last 14 days, he said, you have been in constant suspense and have gone without food. You haven't eaten anything. So, ganun katindi yung problema. Ganun katindi yung problema. 14 days, hindi sila makakain. Kasi ako, kahit ang laki ng problema, nakakakain ako after mga 1 day. Kakain na ako eh. Hindi, kahit sabihin mo, kahit hindi ng problema, kahit ako makakain. 2 oras lang ako hindi makakain eh. Pero pagdating ng mga 3-4 na oras, sa pagdating ng gabi, ewan sa inyo, pero ako kakain na ako 14 days. Medyo matindi talaga ang nangyayari dito. 14 days. Verse 34, now I urge you to take some food. You need it to survive. Not one of you will lose a single hair from your head. Wow! Wow! Grabe. After he said this, he took some bread and gave thanks to God. Does this look familiar? In front of them, then he broke it and began to eat. They were all encouraged and ate some food themselves. Altogether, there were what? 276 of us on board. So, other than Paul, there were 275. Siya yung pag 276. When they had eaten as much as they wanted, they lightened the ship by throwing the grain into the sea. Verse 39, when daylight came, they did not recognize the land. But they saw a bay with a sandy beach where they decided to run the ship aground if they could. Verse 40, cutting loose the anchor, they let, vivid record dito, brad, sa mga ginawa nila, vivid dito. Para ka nag-minutes of the meeting ito. In the sea, and at the same time, untied the ropes that held the rudders. Then they hoisted the foresail to the wind and made for the beach. But the ship struck a sandbar, there you have it, and ran aground. The bow stuck fast and would not move, and the stern was broken in 2 pieces by the pounding of the surf. The soldiers planned to kill the prisoners to prevent any of them from swimming away and escaping. Kasi nga pag may naka-escape, ikaw ang mamamatay. Kasi sabi nga, patayin na natin lahat ito. But the centurion wanted to spare Paul's life and kept them from carrying out the plan. He ordered those who could swim to jump overboard first and get to the land. The rest were to get there on planks or on pieces of the ship. In this way, everyone reached land in safety. So, that's where we end, my friend. But let me just say this. The last statement in verse 44, read it. At yung last statement of verse 44 indicates the truth of God's promises in verse 22 and verse 34. Doon nag-conclude yung promise ng Panginoon na nakita nila totoo, God can be trusted. God can be trusted. So verse 44 indicates the truth of God's promises in verse 22 and 34. In verse 22, ang sabi dito sa pangako ng Diyos, not one of you will be lost, only the ship will be destroyed. So verse 34, ito yung pangako, not even one of you would lose a single hair of his head. That is a miracle. That is a miracle. Imagine mo na lang yung squabble nila, yung hirap nila, yung being tossed to and fro, at walang kahit isa. Kung kalbo ka, that's not a problem. Kasi ako, titindig lang ako sa umaga, may nakikita na akong mga bog na naiiwan ko. Nagtutoss to and fro na akong gano'n. But the last statement in verse 44 indicates the truth of God's promises. Because in verse 44 it says, everyone reached the land safely. Read the last verse, verse 44. So, nagkagulo rito, tinapon kayo doon, nasira ito, nabasag yun, hindi tayo makakain. But in the end, God's promises were met. Para pag ikaw nag-aaral ka, kukunin mo yung transcript of record. Ang kita mo, incomplete, drop, fail. Pero pagdating sa baba, ang huli-huli, pasado. Pero ganun din, titignan mo buhay, kung tuloy na Kristyano ka, ang daming difficulties dito, ang daming hirap doon. In the end, my friend, God is faithful. In the end, God is faithful. Paul says in Philippians, he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. How is that possible? Because of he who began a good work. You know, he's not just a man. He's not an ordinary person. It's not that all the work began will be completed. It depends on who began the work. God began the work. It will be completed. It will be completed, my friend. You see. So notice here what happened. The statement of verse 44 shows God's faithfulness. Everyone reached the land safely. Yeah. Also, alam mo, imagine mo lang ito, ha? And this just dawned on me. Imagine mo to that God spared 275 people because of one man, Paul. Amazing. What God will do for other people because of you. Because of you. He spared the life of 275 ingrates. Mga ungrateful, worth for nothing people. He clearly told you not to do it. You did not listen. Look what happened. And still God spared your life because of one person. Is that biblical? Yes. Read Genesis chapter 18. You remember that God was willing to spare the whole of Sodom and Gomorrah if there was only 10 righteous people. Sampo, if there was 10, but there was none. And not only that, if you remember, my friend, that God did not send His wrath until Lot and his family was safely across. Hinood niya yung kanyang wrath. Sinigurado niya na si Lot at yung pamilya nakakross na. Sinabihan niya asawa, huwag kang lilingon. Who knows the story? So we don't have to turn there. Okay. Sinabi niya ng Panginoon, sige, I will spare you. I will spare you. Okay? If you look at me, I don't want to spare that. And you read the Bible. Lot is no good. No good. And I don't have to go to details. Maybe I will. Sabi ko naman sa mga tao, hindi. Sige, yung mga anak ko na babae, bibig ko sa inyo. Ha? Tagutin mo yun? Sabi ko, walang may taon to. But because of later on, obviously, God's faithfulness, namayani pa rin. And God waited. God told them, itatawid ko kayo. But your wife, none of you should look back. Now, it doesn't say why the wife of Lot looked back, but she did. You know the story. Now, what happened to her? She became? Okay. And because the Bible doesn't say, but siya lumingon, we can venture why. I'm venturing, siguro nung patakbo na sila, naalala niya, meron kaming madyungan mamaya. Hilaro kami mamaya, magtotong-its kami. Hindi matutuloy. May tea party kami. Magkasama kami ng mga amiga ko. O may chismis. I don't know. But for him, he could not totally detach himself from what God hates. God hated that place. You should hate it also. Because that's what the Christian is. You love what God loves, you hate what God hates. But she could not totally detach herself from what God is about to judge. She looked back and she became a pile of salt. But the point being is that God held His judgment until the whole family of Lot. In fact, also, you know what? You look at it in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It says something to this effect. That the reason God is holding His judgment on this earth is because you, His children, are still on earth. The reason. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Nadali na naman yung 2. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Read the whole chapter. Sabi niya, the reason God is holding His judgment on this world is because you, His children, are still here. But when you are gone, when you are raptured from this place, God's going to judge this world. So babalikan mo doon. God spared 275 people because of one man called. How good is your God? How good is your God? Okay. God bless you all, guys. Let's pray. Lord God, we thank you for this day. We praise you for your word. And I ask, Lord, that you would minister to us every day, that we would live a life of repentance, Lord. That we would live a life of every day, changing from glory to glory, Lord. That we would take a relationship with you seriously. Oh my God, that we would not be like the majority, that we would trust you and you alone. That we would not trust the words of the experts, but we would trust your word, your Bible. But Lord, we would make a difference. Time is short, Lord. Time is short. You said in your word, the night is almost over, the day is almost here. We believe that to be true, Lord. We believe that to be true. So we thank you, Lord, for this day. And as always, we pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.